All right, everybody, welcome back to Bestie Breakdown. Today we have Rohan with us from Big Brother Canada. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Excited to do this.
We're so excited to talk to you. And you were on Big Brother Canada season 9?
That's right.
Okay, great. And so, can you tell us a little bit about the process for applying for the show?
Yeah, definitely. So, in most normal seasons, the process would be you can either go to the in person casting auditions or you can do it online. But my season was a bit unique because we were just coming out of COVID. And actually, the season before me got canceled midway through because of COVID. And so, in my season, it was actually just all online, all virtual. And basically, what the process is you submit roughly a 3 minute video. The video can be anything that you want. You can literally be talking to the laptop. That's what mine was. You can be doing all sorts of fun, different activities and edit it all together. It's really just about catching the eye of the casting team. And after you submit that 3 minute video, then you just kind of hang on and wait until somebody reaches out to you, if they reach out to you, and then carry on with the process. But 3 minutes is a lot of time to really tell people what you're all about and how your real life experiences can relate to the game, and why you're going to be entertaining on TV. Because I don't think people obviously want to see people do well and win the game, but entertainment factor is huge, right? In terms of the casting process, since you want to tell people it's something that's interesting about you and why you're going to make good TV too.
Absolutely.
How did you come up with the Row Show, the nickname? I love it.
I actually didn't. So one of my castmates did, and people had called me that in the past, like, but it never really stuck, and I never really like used it as a nickname going forward. But then one of my castmates used it in the house, and then it just kind of stuck from then on in. And people in the house started calling me that. I was unaware at the time, but people outside of the house were calling me it on Twitter and Instagram and other social media. So it was pretty cool that it stuck because it's a nice little brand, because I think that's what people want to come out with is some sort of brand, and Rocha was essentially what I came up with. So I'm glad it stuck. It's a good nickname, and now when people say that out loud, I kind of like perk up and I'm like, oh, somebody talking to me. Uh, so it's cool. Yeah.
That's what I remember from your season, especially your nickname. It was hilarious. I loved it.
Was this the first season that you had applied for? Are you a super fan and had you applied for other shows?
I would say super fan is like, I think live feeder, like you watch live feeds all the time and you're tweeting about it. So I wouldn't put myself in that category, but I was like the most super fan you can get from a casual perspective. So I was watching all of the episodes, like the edited
Mhm.
versions in past seasons, and I become a fan when the US version obviously came out like in 2000. So I started watching it, early 2000s, and then it came to Canada in 2013. So people were really hyped about that. I was really hyped about that. I was in university at the time, so it was not immediately something where I was like, I'm going to go out and apply for the first season because I'm in university, I have my friends, I want to finish my 4 years. But then in second year, I think it was second or third year. It was either season 2 or season 3 for BB Can. I put in like a last minute application, like literally the night of, because I was like, honestly, fuck it. Like, I just want to put in an application, see what happens,
Yeah.
and see if they call me back. I didn't get a call back from that. So it was honestly, I'm happy I didn't get a call back. BB Can 9, the season I was on, was the second time applying. So I hadn't actually applied in like 6, 7 years after that first time. But I'm glad I didn't get it the first time around because I was, as I mentioned, in university. So I was younger. I hadn't even hit the age of 20 yet. But when I was on the show, I was 26, turning 27. And I think that just gives me, more years underneath my belt to be able to go in and play the game effectively. So, yeah, twice is the answer.
Where? Sorry, I'm dying here. I just shoved a burger down my fucking throat.
Okay.
Um,
Horrible.
where is it filmed? Is it actually filmed in Toronto?
It is filmed in Toronto. Yeah, it's like in the GTA, like Greater Toronto area. There's a studio, and yeah, so everybody flies in. That's not cast from Ontario. Everybody's in Ontario pretty much drives in to the studio. But yeah, it was close by to me, so pretty easy.
Have you maintained some friendships outside of the house and maybe people that you didn't get along with in the house? Have you guys kind of, put your differences aside and been like, that was a game and been able to connect?
Good question.
Yeah, so yes, on both sides. So I kept in touch with people that I was close to inside of the house. I formed really good relationships in there outside of the game, and that carried over for sure. there are relationships that I had that were solid in the game that I no longer have anymore. So those just kind of fell out. And then there are relationships that, people that I disliked in the house or didn't get along with in the house that I now get along with. Right. And one of them actually turned out to be my roommate for about 8 months. So it's
Wow.
funny how things can like turn around on the outside. I think like, you're inside four walls, people form alliances, and then there's just this natural, I got to go after you, you got to go after me. But then after, when you get out, you realize there's some similarities, outside of the game that you didn't previously realize you had, because everything was about game and getting out with specific individuals. And so that's why I lost some relationships. That's why I gained other relationships, and that's why I maintained some that were also close in the house.
I can say truthfully that I was really rooting for you. And I think most impressively, and what you're known for, is winning 3 consecutive vetoes, 3 weeks in a row.
Mhm.
I want to say, like, where did you get the willpower to win? Was it just like, it was so impressive?
I think it wasn't. I think it was just a matter of circumstance. Like I felt like I had to, because the first time that I won, it was when I was nominated for eviction, and I was nominated next to my closest ally. And I thought there was at least a decent chance that I would go home, and so I just went out, and I'm like, I have to win this to ensure my safety. We're pre-jury right now. I didn't want to go home before jury, especially, let alone win the game. But I just went out and gave it my all, and that's when I won my first one. And then the second one, the week after that, we had an invisible HOH, and so again, a matter of circumstance where I was like, I don't know who's HOH right now. I don't know who made these nominations. And I want to just go out and ensure my safety, because, one of those noms come down, anything could happen, because I don't know who's HOH. And the third time, again, nominated, had to pull myself down. And so, a lot of times I wouldn't actually normally go in and attempt to win the veto. And in fact, I do regret my second win. I wish I never won that second one. And I've said this in interviews after the show too, just kind of looking back on things. But I just felt like I had a couple bad bounces early in the game with the whole team's theme that was introduced early on. We had back-to-back losses to start the season. I was nominated at the end of it 5 times, which was, I think, close to, or if not the most, out of any house guest. And so that's where I talk about it's just a matter of circumstance. And the veto is always a good way to just ensure safety.
Do you wonder why you were such a target?
I mean, I
would have
do.
wanted, I would have wanted to align with you had I been in the house.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I feel like, and to be honest, it's kind of flattering that people felt that way, right? Because people wanting to get you out or coming against you, like obviously you want to stay and you want to win the game, but it's like, okay, people see you as this threat, so obviously you're doing something that can make them think that you're going to win this game. So there's that part of it. So that's the silver lining. But at the end of the day, I ended up going home eventually. So it can't be too silver. But I think just going in and taking a couple losses to start the season. On my side of the house, I was definitely trying to do a lot of the strategizing to ensure that I didn't go home super early, and I wanted to form close connections early on. I also had a close alliance member in the house, Kyle, who a lot of people saw us as a duo, and I think duos are always dangerous because people want to split up the duos, and people thought a lot of the time with Kyle that I was the mouthpiece of a lot of our strategizing and going around to people to have those conversations. And people, I think, realized and saw that as a threat in the way that I interacted with people, in the way that I talk. I was honest about, what do I do for a living? So I think everyone just kind of put it together and said, you know what, I don't think he's really safe to have around.
Gotcha. Would you have been open to a showmance had the opportunity arisen?
Yeah, definitely. I would have been for sure. I think there's a way that you can showmance properly, and I even called this in my bio like a little bit more of a flirt mance, where you just kind of keep someone hanging on, but don't necessarily go too far where emotions start to get involved and you start to make decisions based on the relationship that you have in the house. And so I went in saying I would do that if the opportunity presented itself. It didn't, and that's fine. It was just another outlet for me to kind of form a relationship with someone that would be either inside or outside of my alliance. But I think it's a good strategy to always have in place. Some people obviously get carried away with it. They get way too involved emotionally. They make decisions based on those emotions, which we saw later in the season. I didn't want that to happen to me. So yes, I think it's a good strategy if you do it properly.
I need to ask because apparently the slop is disgusting, but is it that bad
Yeah.
on Big Brother Canada? Is it that gross?
I mean, like, personally, I think it's not, it's oatmeal kind of flavor, but it's very bland. And so I didn't mind the taste in and of itself because you're allowed to. I don't know how it works in the U.S. version, but you're allowed to mix like condiments with it and do different things.
Yes.
So if you were making dinner, you can mix ketchup or salsa or something with it. If you're making breakfast, you can make a smoothie and put some sugar in there. And so there are different ways to like improvise on slop. And so obviously, like, I was the host guest that was on slop the most out of anybody in the season, and so I had to really improvise and get creative in terms of the things that I was making. In and of itself, I don't hate the taste, but the fact that you have to eat it, for 3 meals a day for 7 days a week, that's when it starts to get a little bit much, and that's the whole purpose of it, right? And so you saw it, probably, if you watched my season, you would realize that I definitely lost some weight in my season. So I probably came out, I want to say 10 to 15 pounds lighter than I went in, just because, I mean, it's like carbs, but you lose your appetite, right? You don't want to eat as much. And so that's the effect that it has on the game. And then, obviously people want to put you on slops, you do poorly in competitions.
Gotcha. I wanted to ask, had you won, did you have anything planned for the winnings?
Probably just buy a house or property or something. I think that's the smartest thing you can do is invest it in something where you're going to get a larger return. Because I was looking at it like, no, this is not $100,000. This could be much more. And so investing in something would have been the answer, whether that was property or I don't know, high value stocks, whatever I was going to look at. I think that would be the answer. Is just like try to turn it into more.
So no frivolous purchase in mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I would buy myself a thing or two, but definitely most of it, I don't know. I would spend a small percentage of it, like maybe 5 to 10% of it, I would actually spend or do something fun with, like go on a vacation or buy something nice. But the rest, it would definitely be investment and turn it into more. Use it later.
Gotcha.
What was your favorite competition? There were so many. I feel like I'd be a fucking beast in the entire show. Like I just want to do all the competitions.
I would be a floater.
Yeah, you would.
My favorite comp, I think, ironically, it was the veto that I won that I regretted I won, which was the one where we had to run across beams and essentially build like a 3D building on the other side with puzzle pieces. And it was just a fun competition. Like it was kind of innovative. I think people that were not participating wanted to participate just to play it. And yeah, I did pretty well at it, which I was excited about. So it was fun to do that. Although I do regret winning it just because it wasn't the right timing. But honestly, Big Brother Canada does a good job of coming up with like really innovative competitions. They change it up every year. The production value of it is really good. So I feel like every year we're going in and we're seeing something new, right? With how they frame the competitions.
After speaking to a lot of reality TV stars, we've learned that the pay is not that great. What did you get paid, if anything, for Big Brother Canada? Did they compensate you?
Yes, they did compensate us. I don't remember exactly what the pay was. It was 2021. I'm trying to think of, it was biweekly stipend. So they would pay us on a biweekly basis, throw it in our bank account while we were in the house, or in jury. But it definitely, yeah, it wasn't a lot. Like it was less than, most of us, I think, would make for a living, but it was enough to kind of cover, basic things like rent and utilities and stuff that you were not going to be obviously catering to while we were in the game. So it was a little bit, but I mean, I think it's kind of expected. People go for more of the experience than anything. And then, you're living somewhere, you're having time off work. And I think there's other pros there too. So, yeah, but it wasn't a lot, but it wasn't negligible. I'll say that.
Did you watch your season?
No, I didn't finish it. Which is funny because I've seen every other season, like I mentioned earlier. So I've watched them all. And I did watch, I want to say like 8 or 9, maybe 10 episodes, like something, maybe a third of the season, probably a little bit less, with my parents because they wanted to watch it with me. Obviously, like seeing their son on TV, they're like, "Oh my, I want to watch this back a second time." And I'm
cool.
like, fuck, I really don't want to watch this. So
What
I
stopped
sat down
you
and
from wanting to watch it all?
I just feel like first and foremost, I lived it, right? Like I was there. And although I didn't see all the conversations that happened behind closed doors or that may have been about me, I played the game from my perspective and that was enough for me. The other thing was, it was just kind of like, I watched like 1 or 2 episodes to start. We watched the finale together. Sorry, the premiere together after finale with the house guests that were from jury and then the final two. But after that, I tried to watch like 1 or 2 episodes by myself, and I felt like it's super weird because I feel like I just needed someone there with me for like emotional support of like anything that was going on, whether it was positive for me in the house or whether it was negative. And so, my parents brought it up, and I'm like, okay, I'll watch a couple episodes, and we watched them together just to get that experience together. But yeah, after that, I hadn't watched. I want to say after Latoya's eviction, which was the third eviction, I hadn't watched after that, and maybe it was even before that. But yeah, I don't know. It's been 2 years. I don't have any inkling to go back and finish the season. Whoever was in jury told me about what happened, and I'll just take them at their word. And if I feel like I want to go back and watch it eventually, then it might be years down the line. I don't even know.
Your season was incredibly diverse, the casting, but it felt very like a lot of tension in the house. Was it as tense in the house as it came across on screen?
Yeah, I definitely felt the tension. There was two distinct sides I think that started to form pretty early on, and um, there's just this aura of being in the house or being in a room with someone and trying to communicate with them or have a conversation with them, knowing that they're probably talking about you behind their back. And it was just very evident to me. And I think just that came off like the first couple of weeks of, I know people want to target me. I almost went home in week 2 next to Josh, where they basically were seconds or minutes away from flipping the vote on me. So I knew for a fact that I was that close to going home. And that made things a little bit more tense in my mind, just in terms of what are people saying about me and how are they trying to get me out. But it was evident for me for sure. Like, I can go in and have a conversation with anyone and joke around and be fun going and everything like that. But inherently, I knew like they're trying to come after me and they're trying to get me out. And it was just a matter of how they were going to do it and what pieces they were putting in place. And so I was trying to connect the dots as much as possible. But yeah, like I said, I think coming out, formed relationships across the aisle. Some people I'd never talked to after the show. Some fell out. So it's just a matter of how things formed in the first couple weeks of the game, I'll say.
Do you have any regrets? Because, like Chris was saying, we talked to a lot of people who've done reality television, and I would say about 90% of them, maybe even 95% of people, weren't super happy with the experience and wouldn't do it again.
That's high. Well, I mean, to answer your first question, do I have regrets? Yes. Like, the one I stated earlier was winning that second veto, putting myself in a really bad spot with two of my alliance members nominated for eviction and having the pressure of like having to use it with an invisible HOH. So not knowing who exactly it was, and saving one of my alliance members, my friends, in the house that I know for a fact would have got me farther, but there was the other side of the decision, which was to not use it. One of them, in either situation, whether I use a veto or whether I don't, one of them goes home. It was just a matter of, is it going to be Braden or is it going to be Austin that I'm willing to let go of? And at the end, I decided I was willing to let go of Austin and keep Braden for the benefits of my game going forward. And so I decided not to use it. But it was a really tough decision, and I felt like I wouldn't have been a replacement nominee anyway, even if I didn't win that veto. And even if like someone with like Ty was HOH or someone that was on the other side of the aisle that was playing against me, I feel like I still wouldn't have been nominated because there were duos in the house to split up. But again, that thought of like just maintaining safety, winning the veto, making sure you're all good, kind of came into my mind during the competition. I ended up going out and winning it when I shouldn't have. So that's my biggest regret. And then as far as like the experience itself, I think I had mostly a positive experience, and I think I was portrayed mostly in a positive light and accurately, for that matter. I know people go in and they're not really portrayed accurately. They get a bad edit, and a couple bad bounces in the game. They go home early. Like in those situations, I definitely see why they might not want to come back. But I went there for the experience. I didn't win. It's so tough to win that game. Like I was in there with 14 people. The odds are against you from the start. If you go in and win that game, that's honestly amazing. But I went in with that hope, but not the expectation. And so going home, like in 8th place, going to jury, I was satisfied with that because I got all aspects of the experience. I went in to play the game. I got the jury. I got to cast my vote at the finale. Although it's not the ideal result, I was still happy with the experience and how the reception I came out to afterwards from friends, family, and fans and supporters. So would I go back and do it again? It remains to be seen. I think like it all depends on like timing or what's going on in my life at that point, but I would definitely consider it.
Was there anything in your personal life that you missed while filming the show?
Aside from like friends and family and just the regular stuff there, I think, obviously you want to talk to the people that you talk to every day, whether that's your family or whether that's your close friends, your colleagues that you're working with every day. So that's an obvious kind of miss that I had for sure. But aside from that, I think it was a pretty cleansing experience, right? Because I lost my phone for a full 3 months, access to internet, access to anything that would get me in touch with the outside world was totally cut off. And so it was kind of a refreshing experience for me. And I enjoyed that aspect of it and being in the house. And after a few days of being in the house, you kind of get used to it. You get used to the cameras and the microphones and not having access to your regular tools. And then going to Jury House, I was there for, I think, 26 days, just sitting in the jury house, having to like read a book or having to play a board game and things that I wouldn't normally do. And so that was a good opportunity for me to get in touch with other aspects of like what I should be doing in my regular everyday life. So I found that pretty cleansing, to be honest.
You know what's really crazy? I think if you were to go in the Big Brother house and be there for like a month and a bit, and all of a sudden Corona broke out and you didn't fucking know, and then they ended the show and they were like, "Yeah, you have to go home because there's some like crazy motherfucking
World
pandemic happened."
pandemic.
I don't know what I would think. I don't know how I would react to that.
Yeah, that's more what I
It's
meant. Like anything in your personal life, like, a cousin getting pregnant or something that you kind of missed out on.
oh, I honestly, I don't think so. I mean, a couple friends got into relationships that I didn't know about, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" Like, and one of them got in a relationship with someone that I actually knew, and so he Facetimed me after I got out. We were supposed to hop on like a group Zoom call, and I was like, "Why are you calling me before the Zoom call?" He calls me and he Facetimes me, and then he's like, "Guess what?" I'm like, "What?" And he pans the camera over to his now girlfriend, who I actually knew before him. And it was just shocking, right? So like things like that, like, oh my God, like I've definitely missed a lot while I've been inside the house. Nothing other than that super notable, aside from like pop culture or anything in the news, right? The Raptors missed the playoffs. I was pretty pissed about that, but everything I caught up on pretty quick. I got in a Twitter hole after I came out for sure.
How was it leaving the house and suddenly being recognized and gaining followers? Like that must have, for you, it felt like it happened overnight, what was probably progressing over the season.
A very cool experience, honestly. Like I just mentioned, getting my phone back. After finale happened, first thing I'm checking is like Twitter and Instagram and figuring out what people are saying about me and what all the chatter is. And so it's pretty cool to like go on Twitter, or go on Google and just search your name, and then a bunch of things pop up. And that was a unique experience for me. I think if you're someone that got more of a negative response from the fan base, and that's obviously something that you don't want to do, is go on Twitter and hop into this massive hole because people are just, shit talking you or saying stuff that you don't want to hear. And so there's definitely another aspect to it if you're that house guest. But for me, it was like, as I said, a lot of things that came out of it on social media and from fans was mostly positive. And so it was a lot of like good reinforcement for me, because you come out thinking about the game and it's like, did I do the right things in these situations, or did I put myself, within the right people's hands at certain times? And you want to come out and get that reassurance. And I think seeing positive comments provided a lot of that reassurance. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, yeah, we got out in May, like finale was in May. So summer was coming up, people are starting to go outside. We're kind of getting out of COVID at this point. People are at parks, and I live downtown Toronto. So for me, it was like every kind of, third or fourth person was coming up to me being like, "Oh my God, like I saw you on TV. Can we get a picture? Can we chat about the game?" or whatever it might be. And so obviously, like, coming out, not having that experience before, super cool. Like, people are knowing who you are and wanting to talk to you and ask you questions and take pictures with you. So I definitely enjoyed it. But yeah, I mean, like that summer after the show, I think for everybody was pretty crazy. And then, it starts to die down after time. Obviously, they cast a new cast. Season 10 was cast eventually, so people then move on to those house guests. But for the first little bit, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about life outside the house? How were the DMs? Has it helped your dating
I was
life?
gonna ask,
Yeah.
how's the dating life?
Yeah, so actually, it's funny because I ended up meeting my girlfriend through this process inadvertently. Like,
What?
Spicy V, who's on my season, who got
Yes.
evicted the same day as me, before
Yeah, I
me.
love her.
Yeah, she's great TV. Like, you can't deny it.
Yeah.
Amazing to watch. So she had a birthday party, and actually her and Jed have the same birthday. So they had a birthday party, and it was just like they rented a boat on Lake Ontario. And they each had like a certain number of people they could invite. So Spicy had her invites, Jed had his invites. And so we were, all out there partying. And then there was an after party in a hotel downtown. And Spicy had invited one of her friends that brought like essentially a +1. And that +1 ended up being my now girlfriend. So if I hadn't done the show, I hadn't done Spicy V, I wouldn't never have met my girlfriend at this random after party in a hotel downtown Toronto. So yes, I mean, great thing came out of it. That's another reason why I had a positive experience, obviously, because there was that nice little side effect. But yeah, I mean, after the show though, like that whole summer, DMs were definitely popping. Like people were in the DMs, like trying to talk. It was hard to manage, honestly. Like I had the little 99+ on the DMs every single day when I logged in. So that was also cool to see as well. I mean, you can't deny that. But I met my girlfriend after summer. So
how long have you been with your girlfriend? I don't feel like I saw a ton of pictures of you guys on your Instagram.
I think I think we got 2 on mine now. I don't know.
Okay.
Like
So how long has it been?
I guess that's indication it's time to post another one. I'll let her know. We met September 2021, which was when Jed and Spicy had their birthday. We started dating December of that year. So December 2021, about a year and a half.
Okay, nice. And do you guys all live together?
We just moved in. She just moved into my condo.
Congratulations on just moving in. That's really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Chris and I, even though we're based in Dallas, we love having Canadians on the pod, and we're such a big fan of Big Brother Canada. So we're so excited to chat with you.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
For sure. We actually have a quick fast 5 for you before we let you go. Chris, you want to tee it up?
Yeah. All ready? All right. Bungee jumping or jumping from a plane?
Bungee jumping.
Favorite carnival food?
Corn dog.
Favorite shoe brand?
Nike.
Ooh, good choice. Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Harry Potter.
Slot for a week or oatmeal every day for a month?
Slot for a week.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. You said it wasn't that bad, so yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking I'd put a little cinnamon in it. If it's an oatmeal.
Yeah, cinnamon's popular, for sure. There's a few different condiments we can mix with it.
So can we expect to see you on any other reality TV? I know you just moved in with your girlfriend, you're fully working, but if the opportunity came up, what reality show would you sign up to do?
Yeah, what would you want to do? I was going to suggest Love is Blind, but you're taken, so maybe not.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, like, are you going to do like any of the dating shows? I'm like, sorry, locked up. And I think like, what was I gonna? Oh, The Mole. I was interested in maybe like doing that. The same person actually cast Big Brother Canada that cast the first season of The Mole, which was pretty cool. And so I've been like taking a look at that. But other than that, like nothing that's going to come up in the near future. I mean, if people reach out, I'll always consider what the opportunity is. And if it's, again, like the right timing and, obviously, like you said, having to take into account work and other things that are going on, then I would definitely consider it. But yeah, I'm for sure open to it. I'm not like one of those people that's like, no, I'm never going to do anything ever again. Like that was my one and only experience. I'll for sure consider something. I think it was fun. I had a positive experience too, which is not the case for a lot of people. And I would love to see it play out again if there's opportunity ever.
I don't know why The Amazing Race comes to mind.
I could be great on that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that was actually another one I was considering looking at too. I think that would be really fun. And I used to watch that show a lot when I was younger. I haven't watched it lately, except for when Tashawn was on it because he won our season and then did The Amazing Race after. So I watched that season. But yeah, that would be a fun experience for sure.
I could see you on Survivor too. Survivor would be cool.
Or that. I know they're starting to cast Canadians more now too. So yeah, a couple of Canadians won recently as well. So yeah, I mean, who knows? It can happen.
How's the weather in Toronto? Is it finally summer? Or are we guys still living in winter over there?
We actually had a really nice weekend last weekend. People were at parks, t-shirts, shorts, everything, and now it's gotten a bit cold again. So we're back to that like early springtime weather. Raining a little bit today too, but I think in the next couple of weeks, like getting into May, it'll start getting warmer again, hopefully, because I think people are just itching to like get out of the condo and do stuff. So hopefully it comes eventually. We're definitely not getting that Texas weather, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, next time you're in Texas, come to Dallas. We'll show you around.
I've never been to Dallas. I think maybe I've laid over there once, but I will come for sure. I need to check out other parts. I've been to Austin too many times now. I need to switch it up.
Yeah, switch it up. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. We're genuine fans, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.